Hello and welcome to the DDS board. I'm Ioga, your host for this podcast, and this is the first episode where I talk about nostalgia and the things that bring us to where we were. Now, back in about 2006, that's when I first got my huge start playing Japanese video games on SNES emulators, and I know it was kind of, well, right now emulation is really severely looked down upon, or in a weird gray zone, I guess it's always been, but the point being that I nowadays, well, I don't have any time. We're lucky that I'm even recording this shit right now, but when I first started, Shin Megami Tensei was one of the first ROMs I played on, just like some guy was distributing a flash drive around for the whole school to play and shit, and I remember it was one of the first games I played, and it was such a massive hit. Like, it just super connected with me. It was fucking weird. And it hit all the right notes. I mean, I don't claim to be a complex individual. I mean, you could probably boil me down to just, anti-whatever the fuck. But it hit the right religious notes, the right political commentary. There was violence everywhere. I thought it was really a unique take, and in fact it inspired me to start creating and doing writing and things like that. And this was Shin Megami Tensei, the very first one that was never released in English until it hit iOS a few years back. So this is 2006, and the Aegis ROM hacking group people, those guys, you can tell I'm really well researched, translated it all for me, and well, not for me specifically, for people in general. And I really found that I just fucking loved it. And recently I discovered that they translated Kyoyaku Megami Tensei, Kyoyaku Megami Tensei, which is a remake of the first and second Megami Tensei games for the original NES, made by Bandai Namco. There's a lot of words I don't normally say in this entire spiel. I mostly just fucking read this shit, so it's just really weird to go and see all that and think about it. Anyway, I just recently discovered that they did that translation. It came out a year ago, but I haven't been able to really do anything. I mean, it's probably no secret. I mean, I joined the U.S. Navy, and I'm just super busy with training, and I've been saying that for over a year now, and I'm going to be saying it for another year, but training's a fucking bitch. I mean, just get over it. So I thought for this first episode, we would just basically look at a lot of my old shit. I'm looking at my old DeviantArt page, which I haven't updated since March 24th, 2010. Oh my god. I mean, this is 5 years ago, before I got married, before I had 2 kids, before a whole bunch of shit. Here's apparently someone pissed me off and I wrote something about it. So it's called That College Look. And you can find me on myogaman.deviantart.com, but I don't post anything there, so who gives a fuck? Thanks for looking at it. Anyway, I've been listening to Shu, which is some indie band. Give me a quick second. I'll see if I can go and pull up one of their songs really quick. I was reading Wildcard, which is a series that is, it's a group effort by George R.R. Martin to go and create some crazy thing where a virus goes and takes out a whole bunch of fucking people, and it's a great series. I actually thought co-authored by many different people. In fact, I just recently finished Game of Thrones all the way up to Season 5, waiting on Season 6. So I suddenly became a giant fan of George R.R. Martin. I didn't know that Wildcard was originally written by him, but that's kind of cool. He wrote... Well, I started out with The Busted Flush, which Jesus, can't really fucking remember. I think it was back in Egypt. Shit happened. It's really weird considering what's going on in the Middle East right now. Anyway, I was also playing Chrono Trigger, which I believe I was playing it on the DS. And I remember Chrono died, and it was really hard to win the Chrono doll, so I just didn't do that. I just let Chrono be dead. And then I died killing Lavos, and I'm like, that's the ending I want, and I just fucking kept it. So, as you can tell, this is a very nostalgic-driven first episode without any real place to go. We'll just see if anyone finds any of this interesting at all. I'll try to do one of these once a week, seeing how it's something that isn't too completely difficult. I mean, I can hopefully find time to maintain this. So, in 2010, I wrote that I've been going to college for almost 2 years now, and it never fails. You wear what you wear all throughout high school, and those jeans with the huge knee holes, and those dirty slip-on Vans, and those silly video game shirts, and everyone stares at you like you did some major fashion faux pas. When did college suddenly command that I wear a vest and fedora? And I was going to a community college in Boise, Idaho at the time, so who knows what fucking hipsters were going there. And when did I start caring for all of this? When did college suddenly make me want to act like I had to be a sophisticated ass clown? Not long ago, I had a fight with my friend Matt. We stopped talking to each other for a few months. It was over something stupid. Believe me, it was my fault. Well, I met his cousin Zach in college, and we started talking. Of course, I drive the conversation to Matt, so, I could release some steam. Later, I went to Matt's house uninvited, and I made amends. And we'd been good friends since. But I did let something slip. I asked him if what Zach said was true. Well, my car broke down in early March, and I was walking to school to try to find, two fucking people I don't hang out with anymore. Let's put it like that. A crush and a faggot. When Zach leaned out the window and yelled, "Hey!" He yelled while giving me the bird, and he knew it was me. I mean, there's no mistake. My car's broken down, and I'm basically walking around trying to go and get a ride or trying to get home. And who else wears a green Zelda Triforce jacket? I asked Matt, and he hadn't said anything, so he hadn't told Zach anything, so what the fuck happened? I mean, I've been nice to Zach, and after that day, he's just been spreading lies about me. And I got into some of his public readings and heard what he wrote, and I tried to tell him it was really good, and just how I'd like to write like him, and he just blew me off. And then I was at Walmart shopping for salsa ingredients when I saw an old philosophy rival, the friendly kind, from English 102. His name was Torrin. And he had some other kids I knew too, only they looked at me like I was some sort of bug beneath them. And Torrin was still friendly and we said hi, but still. So I don't know if it's my fashion sense. I mean, who gets dressed to go to Walmart? Or if Zach has just been calling me a dick behind my back, but this high school drama never ends, and it needs to end. We're adults, and I think we're mature enough to talk things through. In other words, Monster Hunter 3, and I still wear shitty pants and old video game t-shirts. Holy shit. So reading all this again, I remember this incident. It was when I don't know what the fuck happened to my car, the electricity making machine part of it, which I completely forgot the thing is. It's whatever. The point is, I want to call it the autotorier, but that's not a real thing. Whatever. The point is that the engine spins it, and there's magnets, and it creates electricity to keep your battery flowing when you drive. And it died because I left my lights on, and I tried to push start it, and it didn't work. And so I was waiting around, and I remember this guy that I had vented to and talked to, which was some major hipster who was obviously a stoner, living with his girlfriend because he didn't have a job, going to community college to try to become some big English whatever. I remember I just blew off steam with him one day, and after I made amends with Matt, he just fucking hated me from then on, and he made it so everyone hated me, and I just didn't realize how closed of a community college was. And 5 years later, I just realized I just fucking hate college. I mean, I got my degree. I joined the Navy. I thought maybe some things would change, but no, it's true. High school never ends. Even now, while in my military training, high school never ends. There's just some bitch that just fucking doesn't get it. And she will cheat and lie and fucking threaten the shit out of everyone, and there's nothing you can do because when it comes to her word versus yours, people are going to take her word because they can't can't disprove it. I just said the word faggot. You can just literally, off of me saying the word faggot, just say I hate the gays, which I don't. One of my best friends is gay. His name is Nate. He's a pastor, and he's my personal messiah, and I'm not even religious, so it's just kind of weird. right there. I don't know, like I use it in an ironic sense, like the fact that we need to break down words to go and create equality, not to demean people. So I find it really horribly demeaning that people would go and, I don't know, just threaten racism and sexism and hate on something that doesn't truly reflect it. I mean, if I was really sexist or racist or any of those things, I would think that I would act more against those people. And, the truth is, the honest to God truth is, people do taint my point of view like that. I mean, I see people of a certain ethnicity that's been a jerk to me, and I think, subconsciously, this guy's a jerk, and they'll be a jerk to me. But you gotta fucking suppress that. You can't just go around thinking that everyone's racist, thinking that everyone hates gay people. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to go and just hate people. And so I don't know. It's racism, sexism. It's really hard. And I can make some sort of argument about being a white male, but the truth is that making that argument's equally racist and sexist. The point is, it doesn't fucking matter. After all, none of it really does. We should all just equally do whatever the fuck we want. So I guess that's what DeviantArt has just thrown back at me, as some sort of blast from the past. Let's see what kind of shit I had written on my old blogs back in my community college days. I have one called tamingshame.blogspot.com. Oh man, this is when my cat died. Oh man, I wrote it that one day. Oh, and this is the time I first moved out. Look guys, I'm an enormous loser, I didn't move out until I was 20. I was really trying my hardest just to go through college and make it be easy, but looking through all of this, oh my god, it's weird. It's all just so nostalgically weird. Have you ever gone back and looked at your digital footprint? Seen the weird shit that happens in your life? Oh my god. So, oh man. So this is November 1st of 2010, and it's when my favorite cat ended up dying, and I didn't live with my parents, but I remember that my cat at the time had like a streak of grease through her hair, and she was sleeping in the sink, and she was super fucking sick, and she had drank like antifreeze. So at 12:30 p.m., I ceased to hold a living creature and began to hold the lifeless form of my cat. And Tulip was that cat. On November 1st, 2010, in the midnight hours, I found her limp body laying upon the bathroom floor, and I picked her up. Her form hung ragged in my arms, and I saw a black streak of oil through her hair. A new antifreeze had claimed her kidneys. I wrote a note to my mother telling her that Tulip might have antifreeze poisoning. It was after I awoke, stricken with a cold, that my mom called me with a sobbing voice. "Nicholas, it's Tulip." And her voice cracked. "I know she's in pain, and I need you to put her down." "It's okay," I said. "I'm on my way." And the pain hadn't even hit me then, although I knew Tulip was going to die, and I was the one to deliver her to her death. I picked up the bathroom rug with my cat on it and got into the car, and she let out a mournful moan and tried to leap out the closed window, not knowing that her best friend was going to kill her. I petted her and hushed her, and I drove her to the vet. And it hit me like a wave, and the tears began to pour as I whispered to myself that I loved her. And I loved her. I walked into the clinic, and the woman led me into a room. She told me to fill out some paperwork and asked if there's anything I wanted to try to do to save her. With dry pockets filled with barely enough to euthanize her, I told the woman that I just wanted to put her to sleep in the cheapest way possible, and that dug under my skin. It was as though I didn't even care. She took the confused cat away and put an IV needle in her arm, and I sat there filling out paperwork and sobbing, and she returned. "Would you like to be present when we put her to sleep?" she asked. And every word was chosen so carefully. She knew I was already on the brink of falling apart. Yeah. And I asked myself why. Why would I say that? Why would I want to watch something I love so much die? I paid the $71.50 and was led into a back room, and there I waited for the doctor to come and kill my cat. I petted her unclean fur, scratched behind her ears, but she didn't purr, and she didn't give that soft, loving meow. The doctor came in and asked if I needed any time alone with my cat, which I'd barely seen since I had moved out. "No, it's okay," I said in a weak voice. Some from the sickness, but most from my crumbling heart within. She pulled the IV tube out and explained how the procedure works before producing a syringe. "All right, here we go," she said as she began to push the plunger, pouring the crystal blue liquid into the feline's veins. And I petted her. "Oh God, I swear I did." And she began to struggle, but I hushed her into that final good night, the one I swore myself to never go sweetly within. The doctor put 2 fingers against Tulip's chest and said that her heart had stopped, but her eyes were still open, and I couldn't get them to close. And I realized I was petting a dead cat. And a low moan of horror passed through my lips. "Do you need any time alone with her?" the doctor asked again, and I just shook my head. I didn't need to be reminded of her still body, warm on my lap. She was taken away, and right when the door clicked shut, I began the moaning gasps of sadness, a companion dead. Even though she was an animal, that doesn't make the emotion less human. After a few moments, the doctor returned with a box that held my cat's dead body, and I could feel her weight and feel her shift as I carried her. "Thank you," I whispered and left, and I could feel the sorrow and pain in my heart and bubble up from my face, and my eyes streamed tears, and my nose ran, and my mouth kept gurgling, "Oh God, oh God," right until I opened the front door to my parents' house. And then I went straight into the backyard, grabbed a shovel, and began digging beneath the shaded glade in the corner of the yard. Streams of light and leaves marked it as a place of beauty as I drove up shovelfuls of dirt. My mom came out and told me how brave and strong I was, how I was the strongest man she knew. I then laid the box down and covered her in dirt, and I wondered if I would do this for a family member's funeral. Would I just pay enough for a box and then dig the hole myself? And playing over and over in my head when the doctor told me her heart had stopped, and the blank look in her crystal blue Siamese eyes. Crystal blue. What had given her eyes life, and what had given her a shortened life. Finally, it was what caused her heart to stop. At 12:30, I ceased to be holding a living creature and began holding the lifeless form of my cat. My cat. Wow. That's I can't write that shit today, let me tell you. No, I can't. I lost that ability. Yeah. Fuck. I used to want to go and be a writer, an English teacher, but, life goes and does that thing it does, and it basically kills your time. And your priorities shift, things change, and before you know it, you just don't have a lot of time anymore. So, that was something really good that I wrote. Anyway, to go and tide us over for a moment, here's Shoe, that band I was listening to 5 years ago. Let's see how well it plays.
Shine my shoes, brother.
Alright, and that was Shoe with Egg. Whew. So while we're diving deep into my own past to go and, I guess, better know me, I mentioned earlier that I was a big fan of the Shin Megami Tensei series, but sadly this does not translate into me being a big fan of the Persona series, which I feel is more of an anime trope spin-off. Yeah, I just don't really like them, but that's fine. I mean, you can't like everything, right? Anyway, I was looking through more of this stuff, and I don't know, I had written a lot between 2009 and 2010. I had even gone to Japan to go and spend time with my uncle who was in the Navy, and believe you me, I never planned on joining the military until right until 2015, actually. What had happened was that I had just graduated, and I had spent a couple months looking for a job, and nothing happened, and I thought, fuck, I'm a lazy slob, and I don't do anything. I should join the Navy. And I did, and it didn't suck too much. So, I don't know. Unfortunately, you can't learn Japanese unless you're an officer, because we're not currently murdering the Japanese, or we don't think that they're going to come and murder us, so I don't know, what are you going to fucking do about it? Let's see. Let me look through a couple of these things. Oh man, I looked through. Alright. Nope, that's a dream. Don't need to go and read about dreams to strangers. You can look at this shit whenever the fuck you want. Oh man, I remember I was learning Japanese at this time, and I don't remember much now, which is fine. Just fine. Here's another story of my car breaking down. That's all my fucking car did. I got into like a bad accident. It's just like, whatever, fuck it. Oh, sorry, I'm just reading through a lot of this stuff, and it's just blowing my mind about how weird and crazy it is. Alright, so it was in May of 2009 that I went to Japan. Well, let's see what kind of stupid shit I had done. I changed clothes. Team Fortress 2 had just come out and for free or something, and I had started playing the fuck out of it. Okay. No, I don't really think any of this is worth reading right now. Okay, well, here's my trip to Shibuya. And this was on May 2nd, 2009. So yesterday I went to Shibuya, and I went on a little walk, and I put, 50 or 5,000 yen onto a pass card, which is about $50. We then rode a train for a while, and when the train went, there was a whole bunch of people, and finally we got there. At Shibuya, we escaped into a huge crowd and had to hold hands so I didn't get lost, and we walked around and went to a store called Tokyo Hands, and there I found some awesome toys that I think Jonah and Andrew would like, but I'll wait till later to see if I get them, or if I find something better. And there are arcade shops all over, and the games were all fighting games though, but they had Street Fighter 4, you know, the arcade game in HD. All we have in America is like the first Soul Calibur game running on Dreamcast graphics. Along with the fighting games were a claw machine that cost like 100 yen. And I looked around for some stuff, and I found a Monster Hunter stuffed cat machine. I was like, no flipping way. Apparently Monster Hunter's cool enough to have their own fucking stuffed cat toy machine in Japan, but not cool enough to release Monster Hunter 2 for PlayStation 2 in America. We also went to a music store called HMV and looked around, and they had tons of songs. I found Offspring, Fall Out Boy, and a ton of Western albums. I went up to the second floor and I saw the manga, and scanning the shelves I found the one I wanted, Claymore, Volume 1. I already own the English version, but having the Japanese one is so much better. This is the first time I had to test my Japanese too. I asked Corey what to say and mentally compared it to mine. Monster Hunter Aremasu ka? Not sure if I should type it how it sounds or type it in Romaji. Yeah, he was a little confused, and we looked it up on Google. And after some searching and a phone call, he held up 2 fingers in an X. And I said, "Oh, hi. Arigatou gozaimasu." And did a little head bow thing and went to pay for it. Oh, this is when I asked the dude if he had Monster Hunter. I found it later on, though. Don't worry. I bought the Monster Hunter manga. There, I paid with my Visa card, and I need to email or call my bank to see how much they charge to convert currency, and was talking with Corey when he said, "She, the clerk, is waiting for you." And I looked up, and I realized that she was waiting for me to hand her my bag and stop talking to my uncle. So I fucking thanked her really quick, and we walked away, and Corey said that it's impolite to go and interrupt people talking. Corey is my Navy uncle. That's way better than most people in America who just want you to fucking pay and get out. I was surprised when I went to Japan just how much people took their job seriously and actually wanted to do a good job. Like, fuck, when I was working in the civilian world, it was just, you're fucking retarded. Just shut up and get the fuck out. Oh my god, are you serious? Fine, I'm just fucking putting up with it. Minimum wage. Put up with the dumb people. Minimum wage. So I was really surprised that Japanese people actually took pride in, their work. I mean, Americans used to do that, but not much anymore, Anyway. When we walked towards the first floor, Corey asked if I wanted to go up higher. And I thought, what could it hurt? In the store, HMV. And so we went upstairs. And there I saw some Green Day magazines and deciphered them to say Green Day was coming back after 5 years or some bullshit I couldn't understand because it was in Japanese. And there was also a semi-large crowd pushing around some half-made stage. And apparently some Japanese pop idols were doing a promo. And after a bit of waiting and the security guards eyeballing us for not hanging out in the crowd, some 3 Japanese girls jumped on stage and started singing, and they did like 2 songs, and it was a whole fucking routine, like huge full routine. And it's when I noticed that the crowd was just only men, and only half of them were doing the whole routine with them, with the little hand to the ear flaps and shit. And I couldn't help but laugh when they would raise one arm and wave a finger before pointing back into a fist and their lips mouthing the words and the lyrics. It was pretty funny, and I wouldn't have gotten this little free concert if I wasn't willing to take risks, and if it wasn't for Uncle Corey asking if I wanted to see more. But then Yukiko, his wife, and the kids came up, and we left to explore more, and we ate at some curry shop, and then we headed back home, and I learned about express trains versus local trains, and Japanese customer service when asking about the bathrooms, and that Japanese people won't crowd a gaijin if they don't have a choice. I think that might have been on a... Fuck. Maybe I've drank too much at this point in the podcast. On the trains. They won't crowd you. Finally, we got home, and after some computer problems and fixing, we went to an electronics store where I found Persona for the PSP at about $46. That's way too much. I'll find better prices later. We also explored, and I found a 1 gig USB flash drive for $35. But they also came with some software and games, and you can get a storage device and software. Hold on, before we go too far, I know that you can just fucking buy a 16 gig storage USB drive like it's nothing, but this is 2009, where having anything in the 1 gig range was expensive as shit. I just want put something in perspective for you. I also learned the Japanese make prices based on demand. I found a PSP for $60. Afterwards, we went to a bookstore where I asked for Monster Hunter Hon. And the clerk was like, Gamuka? And Corey said, Yeah. Oh, he was asking if it's a game. Gamu? Like Gamu? And Corey was like, no, it's a book. It's a book. Shit, I'm surprised I can even fucking read Japanese at this point in my life. After a bit of searching, they found my Monster Hunter manga, and I could read it, but I couldn't understand it. And, I could probably still read it to this day and still not understand it. So today I bought 3 books for about $10, way cheaper than it would cost in America. In Japan, a manga series is about $2.50 a piece, where it'd be about $8 in the US. Afterwards, I went home and thought about how odd their house design was, that they have locks on a gate that you can lean over and then unlock, and 2 locks on the front door, and a lock on the living room door when there's another sliding door that can't be locked, and a lock on the toilet door, but no lock on the washroom door. Then I took my little sit-down shower, and then the hot tub soak, and my cousins kept knocking on the door and opening it and giggling, and then they went away. I tried to open the door, but it was locked. And I didn't want to break anything, so I didn't pull too hard, but after looking at the door up and down, I found that there's a tiny lock on the bottom. And I unlocked it and looked back at the door, and it wasn't available through the outside. So I must have locked this door by accident somehow. Anyway, I gotta email my bank and ask about currency conversion fees. Reading all this shit, it just makes me realize that I was not a great author while I was in Japan. I mean, maybe this shit was interesting by the fact that I was, doing some culture clash, but I think the stuff I wrote in my emotional moments of college a year later were way more engrossing. Looking back, I had written a lot of stuff based on Taming Shame. Speaking of which, Taming Shame was the band me and my brother were supposed to go and create. Let's see. Oh, man. Alright. Well, look, I've been plugging a lot of my own shit, my own past experiences and stuff, and I understand it's probably boring as hell for people to listen to some English lit wannabe talk about his shit and then reminisce and then play some sort of music you listened to 5 years ago. Shit, I got some comments on this one. What the hell do they say? Wow. It's weird. I remember I had to go and keep one of these journals for a thing. Alright, one more and then I'll leave it be and we'll get this fucking podcast, one more song and wrapped up, and I'll talk about real things. So I guess bear with me. This one's on February 26th, 2010. And I wrote it Dark Days Are Coming, and that's because I was a huge fan of the what the fuck was it coming? It was some fucking MMO that was coming out, and I didn't actually end up playing it until my fucking, I got married and shit, and then I bought a copy for my wife and blah, 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 whatever. I was a humongous apocalypse fiend. I just loved the fact the world was gonna end and dark gothic topics, so just put up with it, I guess. Today I feel poetry's muse. I walked back to my car and saw an SUV parked haphazardly next to me, and I picked my way between the horrible parking job, and I got in, and I made it to the stop sign before the noise came. Gears grinding, but with teeth missing, and my car wouldn't move. And here lies my realization that I'm not going anywhere with this lifestyle. The girls I see and look back at me, but I never speak to. I mean, it's classic geek, right? But I suppose it started with the curse of the Japanese potato baby. You see, when I first started college at Boise State University, a Japanese student was tutoring me in Japanese, a language that I promised to practice, but I still haven't, even still. As a parting gift, she gave me a white circle sewed together around a plastic figurine, and a hole was cut for the face of this figurine to peek through. Japanese katakana was scribbled down it, and a little thread looped over the top in order for you to put it on a phone or a keychain. And it was on my keychain for almost an exact year before the thread snapped and the curse began. The Japanese potato baby was making an example of me in my life. I grew depressed and apathetic for no reason, but slowly understood that the keychain was a breaking point for me, the last shred of happiness that actually meant something to me. A sun ray I carried with me everywhere to remind me of my dreams and aspirations. It took a few weeks, but I finally got it in my pocket, and thought my luck had changed. I was at work, and thinking the curse was finished, I was carrying it with me once again, and that's when I got the massive 5-stop delivery. I was working at Pizza Hut at the time. Memorizing 5 different streets and trying to come up with a speedy route, I drove on in vain. Before we continue, you should know that this is back in the day when I worked for Pizza Hut, and they just had a giant fucking laminated map they hung on the back door where all the delivery cars are. And you know what? You just fucking had to memorize your route. There was no GPS. It was 2010. Okay? Android had just barely come out. People had free data shit going on. It was fucking an insane time. And they didn't provide you with the GPS, which was retarded. Anyway, each delivery was late, and every person was angry, and every tip was under $1. And I realized the potato baby was not in my pocket. But I was so angry and stunned by the delivery, a giant stressor put on me to the breaking point, that I just went home. And the second dagger from my past. The first was my car accident. I bent my frame and I busted up a lot of innards, and I had to put off college payments to fix it for the minimum. I'm obviously not talking about my body. I'm talking about the car. I basically just beat the shit out of my fucking vehicle because I was trying to merge and not look ahead of me. The next time I went to work, I stepped out of my car to find the asphalt-stained Japanese potato baby at my feet. I had forgotten it in the parking lot, and it was giving me another chance to redeem myself. I picked it up and tied the string back together before putting it on the garage door opener. Work continued, and the future was bright. But dagger number 2 stabbed me in the back. My boss gave me 7 hours that whole week, and gave the lazy, good-for-nothing, fuckwad 17-year-old 28. He said it was because I wasn't flexible. He pointed out how I wanted to leave early that day, that I had 5-stop deliveries, how my schedule was constricted by school, how lazy, good-for-nothing may do nothing, but at least he could work whenever. And I fumed on each drive, anger building up, rage making me want to quit, tell my boss to go and fuck off, to quit being such a two-faced cunt and quit thinking about the company, start caring about its employees. And I want to tell him he deserves to be bald in his mid-20s, and he deserves every ounce of hatred thrown at him. Oh man, this was after my original boss was fired, and his fucking, brown-nosing shithole guy was promoted. I worked for Pizza Hut, which is owned by the company NPC, and I don't know what NPC stands for, but every gamer out there, it just means non-player character, the background prop who sells shit to the main character, the people with no name, the people who die, faceless and unknown. This is all wrong. I was no NPC. I have too much to live for, and too many dreams to fight for. I've done things I thought I couldn't have done in high school. I was proving that a nobody could do something and be somebody. But I'm fighting over minimum wage. I had a dream that I was getting ready for work, and Weezer was playing in the background. And as I was getting ready, just like always, this one song played. And I woke and I hummed the tune as I repeated it. And then the first dagger, the car accident, it stabbed into me. My car broke right when cash was tight, and my job requires a car. My boss was already looking for an excuse to fire me, so this may be it. At least I could get unemployment until another job opens up. So I sat on top of my car, parked on the side of the road, drawing because I had no fucking books to read. Only one person often offered to help me, and that's fine. I was just waiting for a ride home. A car slowed down on the way in, and a man I knew shouted, "Hey!" And I turned, and he drove on, and he gave me the bird. Why? Did I wrong him? This is just like the final twist of the potato baby curse. So with 2 daggers sticking out of my back, will I drop? A real hero would say no, but an NPC would just disappear. I used to relate everything to a zombie apocalypse. It's true, I was really obsessed with it. But that slowly shifted to how I'd write it. But here it's just clear. I'm not getting better. I found myself slowly drifting away from being an artist to being a survivalist again. Things would be so much harder when the apocalypse does happen, and I won't quit then. So why the fuck would I quit now? Tomorrow I have to go and get my car evaluated. If it's too expensive to fix, I'll just sell it for scrap. Take a baseball bat to it. Then I'll find another car from a few people I think are selling. My job will wither away without a car, so I'm just job hunting too. If the apocalypse does happen in my lifetime, if the apocalypse doesn't happen in my lifetime, it will never happen. But what was the point of this rant? This 3 pages of shit? Well, hopefully it had something for you, but it was mostly for me. I mean, how often do we write for ourselves? It seems we only want others to read our things and want them to pay us for it. Well, if you want this, it's free. When was the last time you had free literary jargon? I'm just alone in my room and I don't know what to do. And I wrote that at fucking 1 a.m. in the morning. That's fucking crazy. People wrote me on this one, left some comments. Here, I'll read this one from Natalie. Hold on, let me get you a date. This was the next day. She wrote, "Oh dear Nick, what a time in your life to have things crumble. My best friend has just had the worst month of his life as well, and I can tell it's tormenting you. I read the whole thing and I wanted to give you a really big hug the entire time. I honestly consider you a good friend. Even though we never hang out or talk or whatnot, which is a total bummer because, I mean, in my friend's perspective, at times like this, friends are what keep you from crumbling as well. I don't know when you're free to hang out, but I'll gladly pitch in a good coffee or a big energy drink and some company. And I don't know if you're a texting fiend or not, but I like talking to certain people when I get the time to, so feel free. But back to what's going on with you. It may seem like things won't get better anytime soon, but they will sooner than you think. And if you have the dream, you can make it come true. Sure, it's not possible now, but it will someday. I can tell how much the Japanese culture means to you, and I believe you'll be able to live there happily someday, with a beautiful woman that's incredibly fond of you, and you make it through to get there, even though you think they're high expectations. You got severely high ones too, but the point is that you have them, and as long as you do, you can strive for them. Settling for something else means that you'll never try to get that far. So aim high, my friend, and right now it's okay to piss on the man. I wish you luck." Wow, I forgot about Natalie being a friend. Fuck. Time. Jesus Christ. This one's from an anonymous person, who then labeled their shit Matt. "Nicholas, I think you got some interesting scenes and stories going on in your posts, but I'm a little concerned that the fear we had about your topic is coming true. If you recall, I was concerned in class." Oh shit, this was my teacher. This was my teacher, Matt. Fuck. Okay. 5 years ago. Thought it might be turning into more of a series of random stories and a specific exploration of one activity or an aspect of your life. Is it possible that that's what's happening here? Look back through your posts and tell me what you think. If so, while you were getting some great benefits of storytelling practice, you won't be getting the larger benefits of developing material for a specific topic. Phew. Okay, here's an anonymous person. Personal essays aren't meant to be found on one repeating a recursive topic. It's about those little ones that no one cares about, which make for a good essay, not concentrating on one piece of a person's life and hoping it'll turn into gold one day. That sounds like something I might have written as an asshole back to my fucking teacher, but fuck. Well, Look, guys, we're in like our final 10 minutes of this podcast, and I understand it might not have been the most interesting thing. It was just me diving into my past, and hopefully you guys will dive back into yours. You'll look at the things that you thought and had hoped to change when you were 20 years old, or 25, or whatever 5 years ago was for you. Hell, you might just be 18, and you're looking back at when high school first started. So, I really hope that this wasn't terrible, but, you know, it's just whatever. I haven't looked at this or felt like I should look at it until, oh man. You know, I just hope that you guys look at where you had come from. I mean, life is very hectic, and we don't realize how fast it changed. I mean, look at every individual relationship you've had. Look at every person that you've ever loved or thought you loved. And just feel. Feel those little emotions. It's okay to feel sad, to reconnect. It's not weakness to go and remember how it was with your first love, or your second, or your third, or your true love. It's not weakness to go and feel sad and cry over nothing. I mean, it had to have meant something to you. Even if it doesn't mean anything to me, or anything to someone else. Your shit matters. I just want you to remember that. So, well, tomorrow I'm playing the Dark Sun D&D campaign. I'm playing 2nd edition, which is my favorite edition. I just haven't really had a lot of people to play it with. That's not true. That's not true at all. I had a ton of people to play with. I just didn't have time to play it. I've also been playing a lot of 5th edition, which, like, honestly, between like 5th and 2nd, if 2nd edition is like my go-to punch you in the fucking nuts edition, and 5th edition is, hey, I've never played D&D before, what do I do? Well, yeah. Anyway, I guess I'm just gonna plug another band. My dad used to go and be the bassist of Built to Spill. He was the lead singer of Butterfly Train and Suffocation Keep. His name's Brett Nelson, and he's a producer of a band called Toy Zoo. They're pretty fucking awesome. I really like them. They're selling their album right now at toyzoo.bandcamp.com. You can listen to all their shit for free, and if you want, just give it a listen. Here's some shit right now. Alright, that was Zoltar Speaks by Toy Zoo. I just got one more. It's called Tigers, and then I'll let you go. Hey, before I play this final song and sign off, I just want you guys to know that thank you for listening, even if it's only one or two of you. You know, shit's rough, life's rough, whatever. Do the shit for fun, you know. You can go ahead and reach me at my YouTube channel, which is my Yoga Man. You can also reach me at my email, which is mrnicholasnelson@gmail.com. That's mrnicholasnelson@gmail.com. And if you have any questions or suggestions or anything you'd like to hear about, please go ahead and just give me a buzz. Anyway, here's Tigers to go and tide you over. Have a wonderful night. Bye.
Mine's so simple.